Hello and hi, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. And in this video I will be doing a sit down talking with me style type of video. I will be talking about what is a job. Yes, what is a job? So let's get started and let's begin. So what is a job? That's an interesting question of my own. A job is when somebody in charge with authority and experience has a space available for somebody who can meet the requirements of the job. There's a job title perhaps and a job description. This person hires you for that space available if you are able to meet the job requirements and if they feel as though you are fit for the role. And they pay you based on how much time you put into the job. They pay you a salary. That's like a basic description of what is a job. I thought I'd talk about that more, but go into depth about what that is really. When you are looking for a job, majority might consider preparing a CV. In this CV, you would perhaps include your skills that are most obvious for you to include when it comes to the working world or working life. So CV is pretty important. An example of a job being a teacher or a veterinarian, a driver, bus driver, or a Uber driver, for example. A job is a place for where you can use your skills, with the person in charge being responsible of how you perform at the role. This would result in a probationary period by the person in charge for the employer and the employee to see how things work out. If it's a permanent decision or a temporary decision, the person in charge can still be making many observations of the person they've hired in the probationary period to monitor whether the person who they're possibly hiring permanently is fit for the role by actually giving real life experience on the job. So if you have some basic skills already, you learn to pick up some of the skills on the job, you can learn how to work on the job, learning on the role, as well as the expected requirements of the job description. Ideally, a job is trying to use a slotted amount of time that is not to be of waste, to not waste a specific amount of time, and there's a specifically organized time for the person to perform their role in the job. The person who's monitoring the new person or somebody who's been working there for a very long time, based on what they've done at the job, produced during that time on the job, basically. That's like a very brief description of what a job is. I thought I'd go into it because of nowadays with the internet, there are jobs that you can find online, and then there are jobs that you don't find online that you can find in person, where you can actually print out a paper CV and give it in. But some jobs do require you email them and go through that route instead. What else does the job description sometimes expect? The job description expects from the person who's applying for the role that they may have a level of education as well. This level of education may be a requirement because they want to expect that you know a level of maybe mathematics or English, so that if you are on the job, you know how to use your English and math skills. Another example would be paying for some training experience for that same job that you might be trying to apply for, want to land. Also, a job doesn't have to be specifically a professional office job. It can be a job where mother, a father, son or a daughter, which are also are kind of jobs in their own sense, that also require some responsibility to keep up with. The idea of not trying to waste a certain slotted amount of time scheduled for some tasks that may need to be completed by the person who's applied for the job description, or the job person who's looking to hire somebody for the job is looking for somebody who can join the job that has actually got experience already with that role prior to applying and prior to witnessing the role's vacancy being available. Perhaps if they were to go on a walk and see somehow someone's available for a job, or if online there are jobs available and there's experience needed for the role. However, some jobs don't require any experience. When it comes to working life and daily life, I would say that a job in general, a role that makes you feel as though you're not just a number and you're able to personify the role by being your own person, as well as getting the job done and getting the job complete, or succeeding in the role in the ways that you which believe what success is, and how trying to not just be a number in your work life, as there could be other people there that you might be competing against, trying to prove that you're not just any number that just, let's say you get good news and you're hired, that you're not just any number, that you're also more than just a number. You have your own take of things, in a sense that you will things in your own style, or sometimes you might add something to the role that wasn't there before. That was your idea, for example, that might make a difference to the role and the space in which you're working in, or the people you're working with, space that you're working with and in. So ideally it's where you can use your skills to fill up the space for the tasks required, and the person who's in charge is responsible for whether you complete the job correctly or incorrectly, and if you're able to keep up the job or not. And that's what a job is, ideally. Sometimes you're given a uniform of what you should wear to the job role, or sometimes you're not given any uniform, or you have just your regular clothes that you normally wear on a normal day. And so what is a job? So a job can sometimes be something that you wanted to do from when you were young. A job could be something like of the sort where it could be something that you've wanted to do since you were young. For example, if you wanted to get into sports, or train as someone who could dance, or somebody who wants to act in films or something of the sort, as well as perhaps you'd like to go into caring for people and working in jobs that are like healthcare involved, for example. So that's, from my understanding, what a job is. That depending what a job is also depending on your circumstances, but also your location. So where you are in the world, how in that place of the world jobs are supposedly, or how jobs are location of the world, what they expect of you from a role in that location, in that specific place of the world that you are in, and the circumstances that you are in, and how you might have somebody you're caring for, like a younger sibling or like your own child that's dependent on you, for example. That's something that a job person who's hiring you for a job might consider asking you if you are looking for a job. And sometimes this is a question people do ask younger people. Some jobs in certain places around the world expect younger, or don't mind hiring younger people. And in some places of the world, they don't mind hiring older people who have more experience. That's what a job is according to what I would describe or understand a job is. Ideally, a job shouldn't be something that you spend too much time thinking about. It should be able to, in a sense, where you shouldn't be having to think about it when you're not in the job or no longer on duty, for example. You shouldn't have to sit there and think about your role, even let's say if it's time, you're having time off, for example. And yeah, I would just kind of put those kind of words together in a couple of sentences describing what a job is. And majority of the time there is a job title for the job that you might be applying for that does give you the name of the job, so that can give you some information of what the job's about. And then the job description can give you a bit of information on what they expect if you were to be hired, of what you would encounter if you were working on the role, of what experience is expected or what requirements are expected of you to have if you were to be hired, for example, on the role and on the job, the description of the job, so that you know what the job is before you apply, for example. However, sometimes that can change the idea of the job, because if you've never worked in that field before, you might not really know what that job is, and sometimes reading the description can lead you to not want to apply, for example. And yeah, so ideally it should be something that can pay you so that you can survive, that you can be able to provide yourself with the basic necessities of life, food and shelter, for basic needs, everyday essential. Should be able to, the outcome in terms of what you are able to get out of the job is, it should be something that can provide, you can support yourself with financially, be able to pay for your basic needs like travel, for example, or clothes, for a roof over your own head, for your basic necessities and essentials. And yeah, so that's basic description of what I would describe a job is if I were to try and answer the question of what is a job. I'd say some jobs, depending on the genre, the specific category of a job, depending on the category, it can be a situation where, for example, like, are you supposed to keep up with some sort of style that's known for that company or for that specific role, to have a specific style, that they have a specific style you have to upkeep, or if there's social media that you have to keep up to date with, if there are different locations that you might need to visit to pick up things or do things like deliveries or whatnot. Yeah, so I thought I just wanted to go into that, because I wouldn't say I have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of experience with working in the working world or even in offices, but I do know enough to kind of maybe talk about it now, like what is a job really. But I mean, in the end, the jobs are supposed to provide you with the income for you to kind of be able to go forward in your life and live your life, and also so that you can learn from the role, in a sense that it can add to who you are as a character, your character building, skills, exercises, even teamwork building, and even maybe working on your own, going solo and being on your own at the job. You never know. Learning how to be independent or be freelance. Some jobs are freelance, some jobs are part-time, some jobs are full-time. So I just wanted to open a discussion in this video where I just talk about to myself really what a job is, because it isn't something that you get explained to in places that you'd expect. But if you do some research, there is information out there about what a job is. I thought I'd keep it to that amount of information about what a job is. I don't think there is more to what I had to say today. So if you did like this video and enjoyed watching and listening to me talk about what a job is, please feel free to like the video, and if not, please obviously keep scrolling if you fancy it, and if you don't fancy it, obviously keep scrolling, of course. And yeah, have a nice day. Goodbye.